researcher, you understand that sometimes you need to go deep to understand the kind of research you do to come out with reports that will make impact in this country. Are we actually making use of research that we do in our education, higher educational institutions, the tertiary institutions, most especially the MPhil, PhD level researchers? What impact are such research having on our education system? And how are we groomed towards understanding the impact of research? Africa Education Watch has been able to come out with a research report, and they are saying that the West African Examinations Council, WAEC, the organizers of BEC, WASI, and other examinations in this country, the exam they conducted last year for for the senior high students has been leaked. That hasn't been the only issue they raised, but that has been the issue of contention. WAEC came out and said no. WAEC said no. It isn't so. Meanwhile, they are threatening lawsuits. They also raised salient issues that they think is a matter of concern. Africa Education Watch didn't do a good job. This way and so. I'll be speaking to Divine to tell us actually whether Africa Education Watch has done a great job or it's just one of those things. I'll have a discussion with him and other guests on the show. Divine, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, it's been a while.
Yes, I trust you have been good.
Okay, yes, and you've been able to put pressure on the West African Examination Council. Are you happy?
It's not about that. Actually, we did not even to do this to target people. So our project that we launched was actually intended to provide policy guide for the Ministry of Education, so that if they need, I even asked the president in one of his addresses that she will be reformed by this particular report as a policy guide for them, that the Ministry of Education has an understanding also to reform our judiciary. So what we have done primarily for issues of examination of every year in this country, it is not new. We don't even need Africa Education Watch to tell us the issues about examination of practices. What we went to do was to go in together to see how some of these issues happen. Public knowledge that every year we record the examination of practices. So we want to now investigate how actually this go by and can come out with some recommendations that is for reformation, because we talk about the issues of examination every year in the media space. Now we never go beyond that point to ask for reform. So we, as a policy, that's not clear at the point of talking about, rather use the 2020 issues as an opportunity to ask for reform. Why should we use the 2021? Because if you look at the instances of examination of practice which happened last year, we've never even seen some of them before. Some people describe it as unprecedented. We have never seen instances of contact details of street markets linked to them social media space. That particular list contains their names, which they are seeking, their name, their phone numbers, their email addresses, such that anybody can then touch with them. We at Africa Education Watch, we raised the issue about that particular problem, because you, as WAEC, at least then do not use those people whose contact details were laid. WAEC said, well, we will not that the examination. WAEC still went ahead to use those particulars which were linked on social media to mark them. I recall we at Africa Education was even secure, we want to call to secure an internship on Africa, WAEC, so that we will not use that particular, but we just have to retract or withdraw that lawsuit, because if we want to go the full length of it, maybe even up now, we may not have to match our students to that point to the various tertiary institutions. So our report primarily is targeting Ministry of Education, not WIEC, so that Ministry of Education can do something about it. Yeah, it calls a reform in our assessment system.
Great. I have the report before me, and I went through the report overnight, trying to understand your argument. It seems you raised other issues, but the media has taken only the leakage as the primary issue. But before you continue, let me greet the rest. I'll come back to you. Divine. All right, Claudia.
Hello, Ferdinand.
Good morning.
Hello. Good
Yeah, I can hear you.
morning.
How are you?
Good morning, Ferdinand.
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm sure you are aware of the supposed banter between WIEC and Africa Education Watch, based on the report released by Africa Education Watch about a week ago.
Yeah, I've read that report and I've followed the developments from that particular report from both the media, WIEC, and all that. And yeah, I'm fully aware of it.
Okay, let me come to Enoch. I'll get back to you. Enoch, good morning.
Okay.
Good morning, Ferdinand.
Yes, it's been a while.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Yes, we are there. We are there. We are monitoring things.
Yeah, the lovers of education. I've seen your curriculum trainings and all that. How far with that?
Well, very, very fantastic. Let me greet our panelists this morning. Very fantastic. And we are really, really making headway. Though we know that government has not started it, but the implementation of the curriculum will definitely be rolled out somewhere next year in January. But the policy guidance gives us the opportunity to do the training and also offers sort of orientation program to the private schools teachers for being home almost a year during the COVID time. We all understand the level of teaching and then qualification aspect in terms of private educational teachers in the country. So when we relax, it will cause us harm. We need to all be on top.
That's true. That's
So
true.
we are managing.
That's great. That's great. All right, let me come to Divine. Yeah, Divine.
Alice, I'm with you.
Yes. Divine is a rep from Africa Education Watch, and Divine, let me go straight to one key area. I am not looking at the report in terms of leakage only, but I want us to look at the report from the academics perspective, not necessarily from the media perspective, where media would like to make headlines, but the impact of this report on Ghana's pre-tertiary education and assessment. What kind of methodology do you use to get this report done?
All right. We used part of our instruments to use questionnaire, have our sampling targets. Our sampling targets, we have them some targets, some invigilators. We got in touch with what's the name? Help from WIEC. And we also review media articles on past people. We use interview, use informant reports as well, most especially for those that are in WIEC and there are staff that have confined in us to speak to us on the condition of vulnerability, or even with sign non-disclosure agreement with them that
Okay.
will not be able to tell
Sure,
who
sure.
they are. So we're able to get informant from WIEC. As I said, there have been several publications about the what in the media, and we got in touch with teachers who serve as teachers. They also spoke to us. We got in touch with security personnel who were supposed to secure the examination process. So all the people that were on this value chain were able to engage them.
Oh, okay. So is it more of a mixed method research that you did?
Yeah, we use triangulation. It was the method was triangulation, so it was only one method
Oh, okay.
that
But
we used.
it's more qualitative.
Yeah. It's the qualitative research we did. It's not quantitative. It's more qualitative.
I'm asking these questions because I want us to shift from the media perspective of a leakage to the reality of the report and its impact. If you look at our education, the higher education, tertiary education, we don't publish reports most often. You only get reports when it's time for elections. Then the University of Ghana's political science department come out with who wins election. But if you look at the academia, if you look at the perception of education, I'm expecting that maybe within every 3 months or maybe once every year, we look at research documents that try to propose new ideas, new pedagogies, new ideologies, new teaching style, new education-related assessments, new ways of teaching and learning in the 21st century. So I'm one of the key people who appreciate coming to the report. But as you know, reports are people's perspectives, and it could be from an objectivist perspective or a subjectivist perspective. But the impact is what is being felt, and that is what we're discussing. Though the news within the week has always been leakage of exam papers. What key issues did you consider during your report?
All right. The key issues were that one, how deep were these irregularities? We are not there to establish whether there were irregularities because they were there. So we are more interested in how deep they are, and we also look at how these particular irregularities come about. Because every year it is an annual ritual for exam papers to leak. How do they come to the students? Fire says that they don't need to study it. Yeah, that's correct. But at the end of the day, how do they get out of fire school and they get in hand particular students? So we were more interested in that. We were interested in terms of examination irregularities. So if you look at it, our report should have indicated that has been on increase. Look at it from 2017, it has been more of on a high increase than ever. And the 2021 has recorded much more of the irregularities. Like I said, some of the issues that have not been recorded before. So we're more focused on how deep these issues were, and then how actually these irregularities come about there, or practices, how do they come about. Look at the people on the examination value chain, how committed they are. Look at the executive personnel. Look at the private schools, public schools. Look at the diligence or special educators that are included. What role do they also play in examination of participants? We look at parents, what their roles are in this examination practices, and then the quiet for themselves, what role they play in this practice of examination mock practice, and even the schools, the teachers, what their roles are. So these were some of the focus areas.
Okay. I'll come back to you. Let me get to Claudia. Claudia. Yeah, can you hear me? Claudia. Good. What is your take on divine submission regarding to their purpose of coming out with this report?
Okay, let me first of all greet all the panelists. I forgot the first time to say hi to them and to your lovely listeners. I must say that Trinity Education Watch has done a great job. This is something that I was expecting government and the Ghana Education Service, even with the Ministry of Education, to take an interest in the first place to be doing, because they are the frontiers
So, do you want to say that what Divine and his team put together is entirely true?
I'll go for it 100%.
Mm, mm,
If
mm.
they want to even take African education for support, they can try it and they'll be exposed big time.
Are you sure of that?
I'm telling you, I am very sure. Ellis, don't make it look as though you don't know how the system runs on the ground.
Mm, mm, mm.
It's hard when it's time for examination and you see very young people. What kills me is why young people think they can make it through cheating. Like, it baffles me that people even at the basic level think it is a norm. Like, that it comes with examination. I feel bad because we're trying to raise people who be patriotic and all that, and we are making them feel like you can actually get there by cheating, and it's wrong. If we can't accept their report, I think we can even accept the recommendations they have made and take a second look at it.
Great. You know what, Claudia, do you know what I want us to do?
Yeah.
I want us to look at the report in two sides, from researchers' perspective, to see, because every research has its critique, and I accept the fact that most of the things they might have said is true, and some might also not be true based on a subjectivist perspective. But the impact of on the education system is key, because coming out of this report has opened so many eyes. Let's look at the positives. If you look critically at the report, they are not only talking about leakage. They gave their procedure they use. Initially, I asked him of the research design initially, because I want us to draw our attention to how research is done, so that our listeners and viewers will begin to learn more about research in education, especially social research. So, coming out with a document like this, and WAEC also coming out with theirs, and its legal framework is a different issue altogether. But to a larger extent, most of the things that are being reported by African Education Watch, without research, you could say these are true. Let me take us back to their report. Before their introduction, they gave some pictorial presentation of news items that seem to presuppose that even if you disbelieve or you doubt their reportage or their report, the news items could give you a fair knowledge about what they want to present. That, I think, is great and a new idea that many people should also look out for, because sometimes have rhetoric. Some people come up with some rhetoric before implementation of policies. So it was something that was great, and that, I believe, has been their confidence that, look, if WAEC seem to interpret their report as being malicious or sabotage, there has been news reports where even the Minister of Education had a say on leakage of examination reports. So the media took only leakage, but there are other things that they raise which we need to look out for, and then we discuss as well. So that is why I'm interested in diverse views, and then we should critique the report and see where there are loopholes. Should there be? Because WAEC can't go to court without getting loopholes. WAEC will surely, point at where there are loopholes so they could get their point legally. So I also allow Divine himself to look at the loopholes he think that might have been a standing point for WAEC. We discuss all this, and then we look at the way forward for the education system. So let me get to Enoch. I'll come back to you. Yeah, Enoch.
Yeah, Ferdinand.
Yes, the discussion is getting interesting. A lot of messages coming through which seem to presuppose that many people are interested in the discussion. What is your view on the report?
Thank you very much. Having listened to the gentleman from African Education,
Divine,
who made it very clear the objectives and the rationality behind going to do a triangular research based our instructional material to find out that whether we have really met the objectives of the curriculum as a nation. So when we talk of an assessment, in fact, I've read the report, they even made a reference that it is one of the things that we use to determine even the implementation and whatever we are supposed to do to make sure whether we are doing it well or not. So if we have been witnessing, let's say, always examination malpractices, leakages, cancellation of papers and all that, which the sole responsibility of WAEC to make sure that these things are not, involving or showing in our educational setup, then there's a need to conduct a research. So aside the kind of, let's say, leakages that has been picked up by the media reportage, because that is one of the key elements that you see out there. There has been a lot of concern concerning even the interest of having GES and Ghana Education Service and, let's say, the Ministry of Education on the same board with the WAEC governance structure. So there's been a critique on the WAEC governance structure. The kind of methods that they use to, let's say, set up the question is also an option that they have raised concern about it. So these are some of the things we have to look at it and then find out the best way to solve them. Because though we are not expecting anything that what the WAEC people are doing now, because I think this is the second time a report has been carried on them by an independent body. Always we have examiners reports that are always in line body has been able to go deeper their heights and they'll be able to come out with clear, solid, undefatigable, let's say, points that will be very difficult for IEC to defend. Because all the past in the country have witnessed teaching behind or the theory behind what is said is that because of the that they have brought so many reports, it will definitely be one of the issues that
Yeah, I can hear you.
hello.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
So all the recommendation made in the report is positive. It's not true that when you
Yeah, I can hear you clearly. Yeah, I can see you. Yeah, you are clear. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you clearly. Yeah, you are live. Yeah.
and there are no loopholes in it. And I think if WAEC is very solid and confident enough, they should try this again and see their level, their limit, and their level. Because I know very well that before even having this kind of report, African education was and they pleaded to withdraw the case to institutional level.
Yeah.
Administration.
That's true.
Which means that they know very well that there are a lot of things you cannot test it at the court. So they can go to court. But to those of us who are in the educational space, we see the report as an eye-opener, a true source of information that we can use to make any determination if there's a need be to form, and let's say, hone in into the assessment framework in our Ghanaian educational curriculum.
Sure, sure. Yes, I'm getting some messages, and people want us to digest the report, and then we look at the way forward. And I think that is what we're doing actually. We're trying to look at that. Is why I don't want us to look at only one side of it. Great submission from Enoch, and I think the literature, I believe. Divine, are you listening? Divine.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Good. I don't know, but I am tempted to believe that the literature you use is based on what we know, public opinions, our views on WAEC and malpractice. I don't know if that is the literature you use actually, because that seems to suppose that. Yeah, I can hear you.
Ask your question again.
Yes, I'm asking that. I don't know your literature that you use anyway, but I'm trying to believe that you use our opinions about examination and the reality that is in the system. WAEC's leakage issues hasn't been a first time issue. I don't know, was that the literature you used, or you used any other literature for this report?
Well, you look at our requests, you look at the review other
Yeah.
not only that, what you are it's not about that. Because okay, not reality. So we did not only on article. In research, you can try to carry a research of perception.
Yeah.
Having perception about inequality and issues. And we were not dealing with perception. We were more talking about how this happened. And I don't know so far. Why yet was trying so hard to work out. But all the things that they say, I don't even know how they have done so far, because if you look at it, they are talking about we saying we have engaged internal express from their end, their staff. Like they are saying we don't disclose them. This is something that is strange to me. Which is I will that we used to. People remain anonymous. People write their names on there.
Yeah. I think it's one of the ethics of research, not disclosing the people, and so it is something that is why I don't want to ask questions about who said this, because sometimes the media could push you to the wall, but the ethics of research wouldn't allow you to, mention names. So there's no need for me to even ask that who said this. But most of the things that have been reported, almost all, are not new. But the only difference between what has been reported and what we know is that what we know has now been documented. And so we are using that as a case study. And I think this is something key. How is WAEC going to battle this issue?
See, like I said, several other media about this legal treatment of WAEC. Well, for us, WAEC is entitled to it. They so wish that they want to go on academic. But trust us that we also have our evidence. Whatever they want to say in court, I don't know what actually they are going to put that exam papers want to say. I don't know. That is true. And if that's what they are going to have our evidence, we have our informant from the staff of WAEC that we can use to talk. So WAEC will have time to court, or I don't know what the was asking, why probably we should have been more consistent about the recommendations that we have made, because it is not our report that will be giving YS integrity in this thing. YS integrity has always been on mid to long, not that our 1 day report will be the one to get the credibility of YS. No. So YS, their priorities already vetted, and people have talked about them. So if I were them, I would have been putting some of the recommendations so that I can fine-tune my work and use my work to improve whatever that needs to be done, so that there will not be issues surrounding my work. Because the assessment, as the enough said, is a high stakes one. If it's a high stakes decision, it takes a lot of decisions. So if we are making decisions on a high stakes assessment, an assessment, I'm feeling that it should be reliable, it should be valid, it should be usable. And any form of measurement error that is used in practice can affect the reliability, the validity, the integrity of the assessment result. And therefore, if issues which we can make decision based on something that is valid, something that is reliable, then our decision will be leading us to a wrong direction. Because there are a lot of high stake decisions that are made on our easy and passive results. Therefore, whatever outcome that is the from this high stake assessment, then they have to be valid and reliable. That is what we have asked, that use this recommendation to ensure that we can guide the space. We will not come back talking about irregularities in our assessment. If there are, there will be, it will not be as high as we are
Okay.
witnessing recently. So they should believe they want to go to a court. As I said, it will be a hard time for them to have our evidences in place, and with them, I would have maybe more concerned about the recommendation.
Great, great, great. Let me come to Claudia. Claudia, yes, the only female voice you have this morning. You've listened to Divine, and he seems explaining the details of the report as we all wanted. Do you take anything away from Divine in his explanation of the WASI report, or you think all his submissions are on point? Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. Yes. Before you continue, I think you've raised a very, salient issue that if you read the report very well, it is not accusing WAEC directly, but it's telling WAEC that look, the exam you conducted, good. These are some of the causes of the malpractices, and I've not seen as part of the report saying that there has been evidence that WAEC itself distributed papers to people to learn. I think they mentioned students, parents, teachers, and how it is done. I think that is also a great point well raised. All right, so you can continue, Claudia. before you come, let me go back quickly to Divine. Divine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now,
I had a message from one lecturer who actually appreciate the fact that you guys did very well. But he raised an issue. Let me read that to you from your report. Let's look at it. Your report says that there has been leakage of foreknowledge resulting from improper handling of exam.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's okay.
Good. Your report says that there has been leakage of foreknowledge resulting from improper handling of examination questions during the printing and production process, instruction to supervisors. I'm sure you wrote this.
Hello, I lost the last part. Even
Good.
the printer was.
Should I come and should I go over?
Yeah, yeah.
Good.
Draw close to the mic.
All right. So can you hear me now?
Yeah, very good.
Yes. I'm reading a portion of your report sent to me by one lecturer. This portion states that there has been leakage of foreknowledge resulting from improper handling of examination questions during the printing and production process, instruction to supervisors. So the printing and production process, the improper handling of the document at that stage, was that not related to WAEC?
Yes, that is what we are saying, that it's one of the issues that our key informants revealed to us.
Okay.
So when we talk of the value chain starts from WAEC's room, from the production center even to the day of writing the examination.
In this context, will you now understand why WAEC seems to also come in, since their name has been mentioned?
We are not against WAEC coming in. WAEC came in to say, okay, he has denied that things would have been coming from them. Probably, you see, this is what WAEC should do. You may think you have strong system in place to safeguard the security of your examination questions. But this should be pointing to say that as far as the issues are concerned and human database are in, you may not have 100% information.
Sure.
And therefore, when you think that you may have staff that may not be engaged of this reality, it may be the opposite. And therefore, if I were WAEC, I would have rather engage Africa Education Watch to say, okay, you are saying some of the issues happen even at our point of production. Can we have a discussion? Because we said we spoke to internal workers of WAEC. Therefore, if the idea should have been no, not to come out on a press conference and say no, we have dismissed that. What if we present the evidence to you that this is what we found as in your organization? So the first thing would not have been to dismiss our right, because when you dismiss, you have clouded your ability to even focus on evaluating the printing process, the transportation process from your end. So the outright dismissal is wrong from WAEC. Rather, I would have rather engaged everyone to say, okay, your finding is saying that even at the printing process, there are issues of compromise. And you can't doubt that because it's a human institution. So how do we safeguard the system even at the point of printing, even at the point of transporting exam questions from our end, even at the point of setting questions, how do we safeguard them? So these are some of the issues. So they are something that we have evidence to accuse to, and we said our finding finds out that it's not only on the point of day of transport exam facilitators that exam facilitators are open and use a photo shot taking the same to put on no, even on the day of the system has been compromised. And if that is engage and say, how is the system compromised? Do internal evaluation, see how your system is compromised.
Okay.
How you can strengthen that insecurity aspect of that. So that is what we are saying. That's what we are down.
Great. Let me go to Enoch. I'll come back to you. Enoch. Good. The report still states that There has been forging of continuous assessment scores for external candidates. Who does that? Is it the teachers or WAEC themselves?
The bottom line of what we have to understand or the discussion here is our assessment model has been on pen and paper tests. And assessing pen and paper tests is basically, or assessing basing on pen and paper tests is basically testing the knowledge base of the person, which is the production or reproduction of past that the child or the learner has been equipped with for a very special, let's say, a space of time, which is also can be in a view that the child will lose sight or will not be able to remember all the facts that have been given to the child. So the assessment system is very robust, and for that matter, it gives rooms for people to go to the length and breadth of how best they will be able to satisfy the demands of the assessor, which is right. And based on that, it has created a lot of channels where people try to find ways and means to do that. So if we ask that who is WAEC, I know WAEC has a lot of permanent staff and casual workers that at any point in time they are conducting assessment. They do recruit them. But those people do work in the name of WAEC.
Yeah.
That is the point we have to understand.
That's true.
Even the invigilators, you cannot just say that you are a teacher and your school is a center, for that matter you are going to invigilate.
WAEC
Unless
employs you.
go through a rigorous, system before you will be given a tag or approval to be in the exams hall.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
are there purposely in the sole authority of WAEC. So to shift it in the blame of those who are within the value chain or let's say the distributing chain are more of, let's say, independent, and for that matter, WAEC integrity is not at stake or whatever. Me, I don't understand it. Because when we talk of the assessment, it is basically in the sole responsibility of WAEC. And in Ghana, nobody can doubt what I'm trying to say. So it is just between them and even the students. At that point, Ghana Education Service don't even have the right. That is why when a child, even in the private education space, fail to pay school fees, and the person has successfully registered for WAEC, you, the proprietor, cannot deny the child the access to write the exam. Because at that moment, that child doesn't belong to the space of education, or let's say the Ministry of Education. The child is a candidate of WAEC or the West African Examination Council. But for that matter, whatever we witness during the process should be the blame of WAEC, and they should step up. My point before I leave you, because I have to enjoy other discussion, equal
Yeah.
discussion, is that WAEC should take this communication very seriously. And let's say, they are told if they have to visit instructors, meaning they have to visit education services, information for any records or whatever, or let's say of their performance, they have to do that. The state
Um, 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 um,
Yes.
Enoch.
If somebody
Yeah, Enoch, can you hear me? Yeah, Enoch.
what? Yes. Can you hear?
Yes. I'm getting some feedbacks, and most people are of the view that if African education work can equally prepare so that other aspects of the report can be discussed in subsequent discussion, I think that is true. Divine.
Yeah,
Yes,
Aurora.
I'm getting a lot of messages from some of the educationists, and they believe if we can get enough time for more deliberation on the report so that it can also inform the public. You think that is a good call?
Yeah, I believe so because I'm not sure that will be able to ask people into the
Yes.
feasibility of the recommendations, whether they are workable or not.
Then
That
what
I'm not sure.
I'm speaking with my producer. What we can do is we will get another platform a week, one maybe next week or next 2 weeks, so we go more into the report so that the public can understand the position of African Education World and the impact of the report on our education system and research as one key component.
Okay, all right. So that's thoughtful. Like I said, maybe consequently we want to focus more on because you have 11
Yeah.
recommendations, and we may not know them all because that is what we thought. You can take the one after the other. How
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so I'm on that input from the public also that we come to find. Like I said, the intention of this report is to inform policy regulation,
Sure.
and therefore there's need for us to focus more on how best we can push this report and achieve that other than the threat of fire.
Yes, yes.
Because most of the people they are president, they did not vote. They also raised issues that they were not engaged. At least we sent copies to them on June 11th. That was 5 days before the launch
Before the
of
official launch.
the report. And what we presented to them was not final report. It was a draft copy. And we asked, and they acknowledged receipt of it later. And we asked them, make your input in their issues to let them engage.
Oh, okay,
That was
okay.
actually
Before the official
there was
launch.
so, like I said, we come out of with the report. Let's push the recommendations to ask for a reform because and we don't do the reform. We still come back a year later.
Yeah, because if you are not very careful, the media will talk about it within a week and it is over. But we need to digest it the more so that it will still be in the ears of WAEC to understand that these are some of the pertinent issues being raised. I have a mistake. Some people said it would be good if WAEC can be part of the discussion subsequently. Not a bad suggestion. Our next discussion, we will try to get WAEC on board so that they may understand your perspective that it is not the report is not meant to attack WAEC, but to make inputs for policy decisions, so that in the future we will look at how to regulate our examination or assessment in general. I think that is true. Your last words, so that we reschedule again for more discourse on this same topic.
Okay, from me, like I've said, last word to that. Let's push for the recommendation. Let's ask for the reform that this because it helps us make a lot of decisions. That decision is based on something that is proposed, something that is valid, something that is viable. And why they are partners to be working with this. And the indication also is that they are ready to engage us on. So let me commend them on the recent decision we received from them that yes, despite the media banter we all have, there's a decision that there's want to engage or we want to get other reports, and that is other so we look forward to that.
All right, sure. Claudia. Yeah, Claudia. Yes, your last words before we still get more time for this discourse.
Okay, so my last was this report is not meant for WAEC. It's for TES, so the Ministry of Education. It's for our minister to take very well and see how the TES, the Ministry
I think our next discussion will be looking more into recommendation and how what they recommend and how we can also help with that recommendation. That is true. Let me go to Enoch. Enoch.
I think enough is already
Oh,
now.
okay,
And
okay.
you know it's on here.
All right, sure. So, Divine, it's been a great time once again, and a lot of reactions from more educationists, which means that people are following the works of AEW, and we believe that you continue what you are doing. Don't get distracted due to the pressure from angles. It's natural in research. You should be expecting people's views. As I said earlier, that research is tentative. Um, People who have different views. Some people are subjectivists, some are objectivists, and so if somebody think that what you are saying to him it doesn't make sense or whatever, the person will also come up with something that may make sense to him but not to you. But the major key instrument is the impact of the research document on our education system, and that is key. And so I pray you get more preparations towards our next discussion so that we look at how best we can deal with the recommendations in the future.
Thank you so much. Gloria, we will have you.
All right, so let me say a quick thank you for you
Thank
passing
you.
through.
That's fine. It's been a while, and I'm so glad you came over.
Yeah, I'll try to get it done.
When African education works begin making their money, they seem to forget about all of us. That is one key issue. So, Claudia, don't be surprised that when African Education Watch is making huge money, they seem to forget about us. So that is why Divine seem not to get in touch with you, Claudia. But don't worry. Now that there's there is pressure on their head, he will surely get to you. He surely get to you. So the money will follow.
Wow, I'll miss that. Alright,
So Divine, try and get in touch with Claudia. Try and get in touch with her. And there's more we need to do. There's more we need to do. There's more. Yeah, before you two go, there's one issue I want to ask.
Gloria is gone. I think Gloria is gone.
Yeah, I think the next time we meet, I'll be raising an issue whether the tertiary undergraduate diploma students' research documents can make any impact in making research decisions. Think about that for me.
Okay.
Our next meeting, we'll look at that very well.